Welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the higher price targets here and also some of the things that we're seeing happening right now with price action, because I'm sure most of you have noticed by now, especially if you have your notifications on, Doge has been doing consistently God candles to the upside. And we've been talking about the importance of building out floors just for sustainability and where those pools of liquidity are going to establish themselves. We've been talking about this over the last 3 or 4 days. And now it's becoming extremely important, not for just for Doge, but even for Bitcoin to start building floors. But we're going to take a look here more so at the capital coming into Doge right now, as well as crypto. And then we're going to come back here to the chart. So let's take a look here. We're going to move over to coin market cap and get a look here at the overall capital allocations. Right now, everything is pretty much parabolic. Bitcoin just crossed $87,000. Chugging along toward 100K, approaching $2 trillion by itself. It's just astronomical numbers here. Over $102 billion in the last 24 hours alone. Doge here is number 6, closing in, ironically, on the number 5 position. I can do some rough estimates here, but we should be over halfway. We're over halfway to being number 5 here, a top 5 crypto here. So this is really a major comeback here for Dogecoin. I know there's been a lot of people that were doubted Dogecoin's ability here to run with the market. And this is one of the things that we've been talking about. If you've been following my channel for the last few years, as long as there is an interest from institutions as far as for Dogecoin and the community is strong, we're going to see those movements that align with what's happening with crypto. Like when liquidity comes into the market, overall, if Dogecoin, it has maintained a place of value where it can attract that liquidity. So that definitely stands for something. Doge here, approaching $50 billion market cap right now, about 47.4 billion, over about 19 billion, 18.7 in the last 24 hours, 104% return in the last 7 days, 20.75% return in the last 24 hours, right? This is just a curve, like literally just God candles here to the upside. A little over 32 cents right now. Doge has been chugging along here. We have some points here. And the reason I'm gonna go to the charts here, but the reason I am looking forward to us building out some floors here, because we have to build strength here at some of these higher levels, right? We don't want to be at 30, 40, 50 cents. I know I talked about this in my last video, but we don't want to be at these levels and then have our pool of liquidity down here at 18 cents, 19 cents, right? That's going to lead to very strong pullback. Same thing for Bitcoin, right? And we can take a look at those as well, but we want to kind of build out some floors here. And yes, building a floor does entice there being some red days and kind of just building out. What we want to happen is something, even if it's like back here, like on October 29th through November 6th, we had some red here, a little bit of some retracements. We had a slight green day here on the 2nd. But what that is that's an exchange between buyers and sellers, right? Because right now, when you have buyers just overwhelming this, you're going to have more people in profit, and the people that are wanting to get in, they don't necessarily know where's a great price, right? Where's the fair market value at that time? And so the last people that made significant purchases there's going to be a large gap between there. They're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for 18 cents or low 20 cents. And that's what you don't want when you have these huge God candles here. So that's something I'm looking forward to, because the bigger thing here is, as we talked about, let's zoom out. After we get to 35 cents, right? That's a major level here for Dogecoin. We enter another gap zone, right? And because technically speaking, if we're going off of historic trends, right? This top level here, which is where we are, if we go to 35 cents, we'll see the next level here is 45, right? So we're approaching another gap zone, right? And I believe, to be honest with you, if this happens here, like if Bitcoin is going and it continues without a correction going to 100,000, we're probably going to enter another gap zone for Doge, and we're going to end up at around 45 cents, right? And what that's going to do is we're going to be in a position here to determine, okay, well, how much liquidity out there is in the market is going to keep pushing it, and what's that correction going to look like? Where are those pools of liquidity are going to be? Because remember, the higher we're going now with these candles, the farther the last pool of liquidity is going to be. We're approaching a gap zone here relatively soon, especially with Bitcoin performing the way it does now. Because if Bitcoin hits 90K, I do believe we're probably going to see one or two things are going to happen. We're going to see a strong push for it to hit six figures, and more than likely we'll see probably a sell-off around there just because of panic and stuff. But we'll see a decline somewhere, or sell-off maybe like mid 90s because of the fear of coming to 100,000 and being one of the last ones to kind of take profit. So if we get there and Bitcoin goes to 100,000, that push there, and if it's that big push going to 100,000, I can see Dogecoin breaking into that 35-cent range and possibly gapping to 45 cents. So that's something to kind of look for going forward. But overall, as a community, we should be looking to build out a floor somewhere in here. I know the rockets are fun, but when it comes to sustainability and long term and hitting that dollar target, we're going to need to build out a floor somewhere in here, and then that'll be a median value. Buyers, sellers can say, okay, this is a floor here. So that way, as we're going into the 40 cents range to 50 cents range, things like that, you can have a conversation and say, okay, well, in the event there is some macro news, something unforeseen, something happens here, where are the buyers and sellers going to agree? And that's going to be, this is just an example, but that can be at 32 cents versus 18. And that's how you prevent those nasty red candles and things that we saw last time after like Elon's SNL performance. And we saw like that panic come into the market, and the gaps between the pools of liquidity were so massive, it just enticed fear. And then we saw that sell off. So this is some of the things that we are looking for going forward here. So the next targets here, I believe that when we build out some floors, I do believe that this is just the beginning. I do believe crypto, especially as I know Trump is pro crypto, and we're going to see some use cases come into the market. I believe this is going to give us some long-term sustainability just by use case, right? Just by this may disrupt not even may, but I believe it will disrupt the 4-year cycle. For the most part, just if we have use cases, we necessarily won't see those like 80% declines, and we'll have some sustainability at some of the higher levels. So I do believe that's going to play a part in Bitcoin maintaining 100,000 plus here in the near future. Doge going to having breaking that all-time high, hitting that dollar range. I believe this is all tied into use cases, things that we've talked about in the past, like for example, Doge being like adopted on X and things like that, and having like wallets developed for crypto and things like that on X. I think that's going to be the situations like that is going to be an opportunity to remove some of those excess coins that are being mined and that are sitting on the sidelines. That this is going to give them like a home and in a use case that they're being used as more, especially Doge, like a currency, and that's going to help with price sustainability versus, okay, well, we had the pump and now we're going to wait for the next super cycle or something like that to push the coin up. So I believe that's going to play a big case in Dogecoin hitting some of those higher levels. But right now, that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an opportunity here for Doge to build out a floor, right? Same thing for Bitcoin. I think that's going to play a big part in sustainability and the strength. Like this is what we talk about. I actually left it on here. This is some of the things that we're looking to see. Build out a floor up, build out a floor up. You know, the stairway, for those of you who's maybe just seeing my video for the first time, this is something that we're looking to do here because we want there to be a median for Bitcoin here. Same thing as Doge, to have an exchange. Because what happened here, and then we're going to go back to Dogecoin, but you'll see here we have this orange line is the 72. This red line is the 200. This is a much stronger indicator than the 14 crossing the 200. We have the 72 crossing the 200. That is a very strong indicator, thus the price movements that we've been getting. For Doge, you'll see very similar coming up here right now. This is very big, right? We're about to, the 72 is entering into the 200 here. Within the next day or so, we can have the 72 officially crossing the 200. That is a much stronger signal than what you see the 14 crossing the 72 here and the 14 crossing the 200 line here, the red line. The red line is the 200, the 72 is the orange. So now we have the strongest signal, one of the strongest signals we've got thus far, crossing here in the next 24, 48 hours, right? So this is what I meant by this can give us that opportunity here, especially if Bitcoin is going to 100K. This can position us to enter into the next gap zone and possibly land us at around 45 cents, somewhere around there. So definitely something to kind of keep in mind going forward. This has been I know for those of you who've been here for a few years, I know this has been a very interesting ride. And for those of you who never, doubted or just were being patient with the coin, I know your patience is being rewarded now. Because you have to kind of keep in mind, most of the people, if you purchased early on in the first cycle, you're in green now, you're in profit. And if you took the time to actually average down over the last several years, you're in green right now and you're being rewarded for that. So I know the market's excited. I know people are excited. I'm seeing the comments and the messages. So I'm excited for all of you as well. This is going to be one for the books for sure. Because technically speaking, we should see, if we're following a traditional cycle, a peak bull run sometime around March, April next year, sometimes like February through April next year, sometime in that time frame. And that means that it's if we're following a true cycle, that means it would technically be up from here. But I do expect there to be some consolidation periods in there. Again, that it's not even just being hopeful. It's healthy for what we want to happen as a community, as Dogecoin holders, as Bitcoin holders. It's something that's going to give us that strength in the movement. So that's something we're going to be charting out and looking forward to. But right now, the buy orders are just overwhelming. So maybe we'll get that after the next leg up. But as we're building out these legs, we'll be continually documenting them and presenting them. As again, I'll keep an eye on this here and give you guys an update here soon. But yep, we're approaching the 72 and the 200. That is another strong catalyst here. And this could be a signal to a much more violent upswing than what we've seen so far. Because here we've seen 21 to 27, and now we've seen 27 through 32. So yeah, if we got that gap from 35 to 45, that would be the most violent upswing we've seen thus far. It would be about the size of the last 48 hours, like these two candles here. It'll be the size of those two put together pretty much, right? It will be a really big upswing here for the coin. So we'll just kind of keep that in mind here, see what Bitcoin is going to do. If Bitcoin does have that sell-off or some of those whales start to take profit, then we'll see that across the board. And then we can have that conversation about where the floor is going to be, where those buyers are going to come back in and say, hey, we believe this is fair market value. And then we can build out that support level and, flip it and, ascend into the next leg. So I believe that'll be healthy for the next leg up. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for watching all the videos. Thank you to all of our new subscribers. I appreciate you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.